What's up guys, it's MurderInc here. Today I'm going to be telling you why I'm going to fuse Sigmund the Highshield, skip the epics because of one big fear I have that's been a recurring thing in Raid, and theme in Raid rather, and I just can't wrap my head around it, so I want to share it with you guys in case you have the resources and choose to go down this path as well. Alright, so I've already released a video showing you how good this champion is, where you can use him. However, there's one thing that's been bothering me over and over again, and I cannot shake it from my head. This A1 ability that has the ability to remove shields from bosses with the higher percent chance going to 100% chance when fully booked, as well as a passive here that has an increased chance when interacting with the boss. Now, looking at all of the content in the game, looking at where players are struggling the most, where they're not struggling the most, this champion does not align with anything currently available to the game. Now the keyword is currently available to the game. This is something that I'm just speculating here, but I do believe something's going to be added to the game, and this is going to be a champion we will want. Worst case scenario, I'm completely wrong, that doesn't happen, and he's still, in my opinion, the strongest of all 5 options you do have for this fragment fusion. I'll explain why in just a moment, but staying on the topic of Sigmund Highshield, why I'm going to fuse him. AoE attack down 100%, 75% chance to provoke when he's fully booked, and like I said, this really strange interaction with shields and buffs as far as removal goes, with an increased chance with bosses, as well as equitable, which is kind of like Harvest Jack, except it has direct synergy with bosses. I can think of a few places, Magic Keep, things like a few Doom Tower bosses where this could shine. However, they're not really huge talking points as far as player progression and where people are struggling the most, which is why I'm leaning towards this is going to be very important for some upcoming content that's not currently in the game, whether it takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. We all know the track record of how long it takes content to come out, but I don't want to be a player that doesn't have this champion in case he has the ability to cheese some boss by soloing it, or if he's extremely strong and almost required, because we've all seen bosses like Bommel, like the Scarab, that has champions you really need to have an easy time. I'm not saying required to kill the boss by any means, but I am saying a champion that if you don't have him, your life's going to be miserable and the content's going to be 1,000 times harder for no reason. So why do I value this guy higher than the others as of right now? Even if we went and we look strictly at the current epics that are available from the fusion, I did do a video going over them, but really quickly, one of the most common champions people are talking about is Demytha, how strong she is, the crazy synergy she has. I'm going to show you a few things as to why she's not that good in my opinion. Yes, we have this A3 here making her essentially the same as Warcaster. If you're familiar with Warcaster on killable teams, the speeds to use that champion are extremely high because of the 1 turn duration on block damage. You cannot extend block damage, you can't extend unkillable, so the A2 is irrelevant for that sense. On top of that, she has very conflicting synergy between her A2 and her A3 in the clan boss, and I'm going to show that in just a moment, but I want to get through these epics really quick. In my opinion, the strongest epic's probably going to be Dur the Hungerer, simply because Demon Spawn Faction Wars is a very difficult crypt to complete on stage 21 without Duchess. I did mention this before, you can cheese it with 2 Allure. However, the fact that this guy's a reviver, now accessible to everybody with rather minimal investment since he is an epic from this fusion, I think this is a really good pick and probably my top epic as of right now. He's going to make things so much easier in stage 21 if you are stuck there, because Demon Spawn is notorious for having a very difficult crypt. Outside of the cool animations of Scabrius, as well as the potential for AoE CC from Thylesia, major contender for most people from what I've read so far is going to be Demytha. Now let's talk about why she has very conflicting synergy in the clan boss. And as you can see, I already did a test here. So we have Sifi as leader and Demytha here. Now, if you're unaware of her A2, I will hover over it very quickly here as she gets the turn. Light of the Deep increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. Brilliant skill. No doubt about it. Fantastic skill. 3 turn cooldown. Great synergy with the clan boss. Then we have decrease the duration of all ally debuffs by 1 turn. So I'm sure many of you have figured this out by now. This means she cleanses the stun. The stun is only a 1 turn cooldown debuff, and she cleanses it. I wasn't sure at first because you never know what plarium is going to do, so we're going to cycle through here until we get to the stun round, just spamming A1 abilities, and it should be after this AoE. Okay, A1, 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 and slam. Okay, we have a 1 turn duration on a stun here. She is going to cleanse it. Now, what's the key thing we just saw here from the cleanse? Demitha is going to work just like Doom Priest, where she has to be the first champion to go in a clan boss team in order for this to happen. That sounds all fine and dandy, right? However, the answer is wrong. If she is going first, that means her A3 is going to be completely useless for the purpose of block damage. It just shouldn't be considered a debuff. Because if she has to go first, here, let me do a better example and cycle through this one more time. Okay, if she's going first, okay, we just got lapped by Sifi, that's fine. I think we have to wait one more turn here. All right, you go, now I go. Okay, so if we have to use block damage here, because we're considering this as the first turn of the round, all the other champions are going to get a turn, healing themselves, and it's just not going to work out. So there's extremely conflicting synergy going on right here. Unless someone can come up, maybe Deadwood Jedi, not to throw you under the bus, any pressure, no pressure at all, but there is a frenzy build that you can do in theory where she goes first as she keeps getting hit. It's going to tune for the last stun round to where she's going first after all the damage comes through. Then she continues being the slowest champion as time goes on. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not possible. Honestly, it sounds like way too much work for a champion like this when they're, I mean, think about it. Clan boss alone is the most customizable spot in the entire game. So is this champion going to be game breaking for clan boss? In my opinion, absolutely not. I think the block damage is completely irrelevant to 99% of teams. Like I said, you can use her instead of Warcaster, but Warcaster is going to deal significantly more damage than this champion. While extending buffs is going to be a highlight if you have increased attack on whatever unkillable team you're running, you cannot extend once again unkillable or block damage like we just saw there, so it's not going to be that relevant. Now, if you wanted to use her in some type of full defensive team cleansing the stun, that's definitely a viable option to go. However, once again, there are still other champions who do that job just as good, if not better than this champion. The shield on the A1 is pretty much a non-impact. Attacks one enemy 2 times, placing a shield buff equal to 10% of this champion's health. Yes, you could stack full health on this champion. Would I do that? Probably not, as you're probably going to gain unneeded attention as far as threat goes for the stun, and of course this champion cannot be the one taking the stun if she's being used to cleanse the stun and extend buffs on your team as her primary purpose. So that's why I think this champion's a little bit overhyped. I could be missing the mark here for sure. Maybe there's some long-term high value progression this champion can offer to teams, but like I said, she really doesn't stand out from other champions. This was my initial reaction that I did post in the epics, and I saw a lot of comments saying, I really think you missed the marks on Demitha. I think she's extremely OP. So I read those, I went over the champion. I still don't see it. Maybe you guys are seeing something that I'm not seeing, but I don't think there's anything special about this champion at all, if I'm being completely honest with you, outside of the examples I already gave you guys, as well as Faction Wars, if you are struggling with Faction Wars still for the Dwarf Crypt. Alright, so that's going to be my opinion on Demitha, Sigmund. Let me know what you guys think. Knowing Plarium's track record, they have released quite a few fusions, and specifically fusions, not really other champions, but fusions, because it's something targeted that people can or may have to spend money to get, and then making their value extremely high for some upcoming content that isn't currently in the game. In the interview I did do with Cirilla and Banana Jam, they said that is a reoccurring theme Plarium likes to capitalize on. They release champions early that are going to have very impactful uses down the line with further content, and usually it's really hard to pick up on. A lot of champions who aren't very good that saw increased value with releases of Doom Tower bosses, so on and so forth, especially Drexstar from the Bazaar. You couldn't just read it from the kit, you needed the content to come out first. However, this guy's kit's so unique, and it seems to not apply to anything in the game as far as it having increased effect against bosses, where I really have this feeling that he's going to be needed sometime down the line or some content that we don't currently have in the game. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notification bells, and let me know if you guys are going to fuse this legendary or if you're going to stick with some of the other epics.